Hi, my name is Penny and I blog at ourcrazyadventuresinautismland.com, and today we're going to talk about, does your family need a reboot? Sometimes we just need to stop and we need to reboot. We just need to refocus our family and sort of figure out what we're doing so that we can be the best family we can be. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So before we can talk about making our family the best family it can be, we need to stop and remember that every family is unique. My family is not going to look like your family, which is not going to look like your neighbor's family. My family doesn't look like my bestie's family. We're different families and we have different needs. So we're all going to be unique. So resist the urge to compare your family to any other family. My family looks a little different than all the other families. Excuse me. Um, because I have one child with autism and I have one child studying to be a professional ballerina. So there's not a lot of people in the world that have the same family, dynamic that I have. So I need to resist the urge to compare what my family does in our limited amount of family time to what other families are doing. Okay? We also need to recognize that being a cohesive family unit is hard work. It really, really is. Just like marriage is hard work, being a cohesive family is hard work, and you have to be intentional about it. Great families just don't happen. You don't just wake up one morning and be like, oh, I got a great family. Yay, lucky me. No. Just like you don't wake up one morning and you're like, woohoo, I got a great marriage. Yay, lucky me. I didn't do anything. That's not the way the world works. To have a great family, you have to work at it. And so taking this class is one of the ways you can work at it. You need to celebrate your accomplishments. Big, small, doesn't matter. Your kid remembered to put the clothes into the dryer. You need to high five them and celebrate that because working together as a family is one of the ways that you become a great family. And everybody's going to want to work together if we always celebrate each other. So make it a point to always be building your children up and celebrating when they make the family better. So you want to make it a priority to spend time together as a family. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But like I said earlier, being a great cohesive family is not going to happen unless you put the work in, unless you attend to it. So you need to make it a priority that you guys are doing something together on a regular basis and take a team mentality. In our house, we have the little motto that we're all in this together. So if one of us falls, all of us is gonna fall. So if we're having an autism rising day, um, then the whole family is having an autism rising day. And so we do whatever we need to do to make the day better for Logan, because that in turn makes the day better for the rest of the family. And so we take it as in we're all one big team, so we all need to work on making everyone in the team feel loved, accepted, and successful. So in my rebooting family video series I have, the first thing we talk about after we talk about not comparing, because every family is unique and all that, we start rebooting our family by listing what's right with our family. So what is your family doing right? What absolutely works for your family. So take some time as a family to sit down and everybody list out everything that's working. Maybe Taco Tuesday is working for your family. Everybody can get to the table at that night. Um, and who doesn't love tacos? So maybe that's working for your family. Write that down. Maybe maybe having your meal planner on your whiteboard is working for your family because then everybody knows what's for dinner that day. Um, it might not be working for your family, but it alleviates a lot of stress in my family if everybody knows what's for dinner that day. And then they don't have to ask me 3,000 times, what are we having for dinner today? Because they already know. So maybe that's something that works. But just make a list of everything everyone loves about your family and try to be as specific as possible in that list so that you know what's working really well for your family at this moment. You keep everything on that list. If it's working for your family, then you keep it. If it's not broke, don't fix it. So that's why you have the meeting and you sit down and everybody lists out what they think is right with the family, what they love about being in the family, and then you keep those things because those things are already working for you. So, you knew this was going to be the next slide. We listed what was right with our family. Now we need to take some time to list what's wrong with your family. What is not working in your family, okay? Maybe not having set laundry days isn't working for your family because then everybody wants to use the washer and dryer at the same time. So maybe there's a lot of bickering over whose laundry day it is. So that doesn't work for your family. Whatever, maybe Taco Tuesday isn't working for your family because someone doesn't like tacos. I don't know how that's possible, but perhaps someone doesn't like Taco Tuesday. So it's a hassle for everybody to try to get home on a Tuesday. Maybe you need to have Taco Tuesday on Thursday. So everybody gets to have a voice to say what they don't like about the family, what they don't like in the schedule or in your traditions, or what they would change if it was, if they were in charge of the family. It is Don't let it turn into a complaining session. We're trying to be positive, and we're trying to find things to fix. So this is not the time to say you don't like that your sister brushes her hair with your brush and she does it every time. Well, you could say that part. But when they start going into she does it every time, and I've told her, and she's just too stupid to realize that she's using my brush. Yeah, no, back it up. You can say, I don't like the fact that everybody uses my brush. But you can't personally attack other people in the family. So you want to set those ground rules to start with, because you can start talking about what's wrong with your family and then you can forget what's right with your family because then it sort of snowballs. So try to keep it focused on you're just trying to list the things that are wrong, because whatever's wrong with your family, you're going to get rid of those. They don't work for you. So Taco Tuesday works for me on Tuesday, but Taco Tuesday works for my bestie on Friday because that's the day her whole family is there. So they have, you know, Fiesta Friday. But that's you just when she tried to implement Taco Tuesday because that's what I was doing. My whole family could sit around the table and she saw how great it was. And it didn't work for her family. She had to realize that it doesn't work for her family because her family's different from my family. So she got rid of trying to get together on Tuesday when they have church and all that, and decided that they were going to have their family time on Friday. So give everyone a voice to say what's wrong, but don't give everybody a voice to attack other people and have it turn into this shouting match. That's not your desired effect. Your desired effect is to find out what's not working in your family, and so you can either fix it or you can get rid of it. So this activity is a little tougher than what's right with your family and what's wrong with your family, because those are normally cut and dry. Now, I just want to stop for a moment here and say I would not in one family meeting do what's right with my family, what's wrong with my family, and what's mediocre with my family all at once, because you're going to overwhelm your family. So that's why in the family reboot, we sort of take 30 days to go through it, because we start with what's right and we keep that, and then we go on to what's wrong at a different time, and then we brainstorm ideas on how to get rid of that or how to fix that or um or whatever. And then we go on to what's mediocre with your family. What's working, but it's just okay. Like you could take it or leave it. Okay? It doesn't It didn't make the what's right with the family because, people loved it, but it didn't make what's wrong with the family because people absolutely hated it. It's just okay. So then once you get that list, you need to take a vote. And in my family, we do majority rules on some things. Some things are just decisions that dad and mom have to make because they're dad and mom. Those are decisions that the parents have to make. There are parental decisions that you just have to overrule whatever decision the children have decided that they want to make um, for their best interest. But we take a vote usually, just so that we can see where everybody stands. And then we decide whether to keep it or toss it. Some things that just work okay are worth keeping. In my particular family, things that work okay is that they rotate through wiping down the kitchen at night before they go to bed. It's not exciting. It's not, it's not what's wrong with our family. It's not what's right with our family. It's just, but it doesn't necessarily need to be tossed. It works. It's just not exciting. So you need to decide if it's mediocre, what works, and it works, whether to keep it or toss it. So that's your decision for what's mediocre. All right, so we have our list of what's right, we have our list of what's wrong, we have our list of what's mediocre, what we're keeping and what we're tossing. Now we need to get into the nitty-gritty of actually getting to work with it. Now you can skip to this step right after what's right, and go ahead and keep implementing what's right, and then when you get to what's wrong, and that list, you can sort of start to um to to toss or fix those as needed. But regular family meetings are essential because family meetings are when you're going to continue to talk about what's right, what's wrong, and what's mediocre. Because those lists should be evolving all the time. What's right and what's working right now may not be what's right and what's working 6 months from now. So regular family meetings is how you keep your family on track. In our house, attendance is mandatory. We have at least once a month, if not weekly. There were times in my family where there was the list of what's wrong with your family was far longer than the list of what's right with your family. So family meetings happened on a weekly basis. Everybody gets a voice in the meeting with no condemnation. Children need to feel safe to voice their opinions even when they're unpopular. So in a family meeting, you're allowed to say how you feel without getting in trouble or being made to feel less than because you feel that way. The family meeting is the time to say, I don't know who keeps using my brush, but I don't appreciate it. And no one says, well, you shouldn't leave your brush out on the counter. No, that's not the point. You're allowed to say it and you're allowed to feel it, and no one's allowed to judge you for it. Resist the urge to make the family meeting a super elaborate affair. You can have a family meeting around the table. You can have a family meeting while you eat dinner. You can have a family meeting while you're all doing the dishes together. Don't think you have to have these great snacks and everybody needs hot chocolate with little snowflakes on top, or anything like that. It's a simple family meeting. We already talked about those are evolving list of what's working, what's not, and what's okay. So we just keep revisiting them. So is Taco Tuesday still working? Okay, great. Oh no, it's not. We need to move our family meal to Friday. Okay, great. Let's do that. Let's have Fiesta Friday. Whatever. So, excuse me. Anyone in my family can call a family meeting anytime they need assistance with something and they don't know how to fix it. If something's moved from the what's right to the what's wrong list, they can call a family meeting to say, this isn't working for me anymore. And then If it's working for everybody else, we can brainstorm ideas to make it work for that person. If it's not working for everybody else either, then that's a great time to say, hey, you know what? That's not working for us anymore. Let's move that over to the what's wrong with our family and toss it. So they can call a family meeting anytime, and attendance is mandatory, but we also have to be cognizant of people's varying schedules. So they can say in the morning, I need to call a family meeting, and then you can sort of fit it into your family calendar and have the family meeting when everyone could be there. All right, so we're rebooting our family. We have our evolving list. We're having family meetings. We need to remember to keep it simple. Simple activities and traditions that you can complete and do regularly will beat elaborately planned ones that never get achieved. This happens to me every holiday. I have these grandiose ideas of what the holiday should look like, and they never come to fruition because I never have enough time. So I discovered as my children grew older that some of the traditions I had just kind of thrown in there so that we were doing something, and I thought that's what families should be doing, are some of their favorite traditions now. One New Year's Eve, I could not think of. We weren't going out because I have a child with autism. He hates fireworks and things like that, so we never go out. And we didn't have a whole lot of friends around that were doing. We didn't have a whole lot of friends around that we could do stuff with. So I came up with, and they were old enough to want to stay up till midnight to see the ball drop. So I said, okay, oh, we'll just fondue and we'll eat dinner while we wait for the ball to drop, and then woohoo, um, then we can go to bed. And so we have done that for years now. But that was not elaborately planned. Like I didn't plan this huge, oh, we got these Japanese plates and blah 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 because we're fun doing. No, we have paper plates and it's all thrown on a plate and we all just sit around the coffee table. But it is it hands down is it's not only one of my children's favorite traditions, but it's one of mine as well. So think of this, you're looking for quality time, not quantity. So kids remember the small things. They remember that you took the time to do something with them on a consistent basis. So they always felt loved and appreciated and validated because you took the time to make them feel that way. So showing up for their events is one thing you can do that will really enhance your family. Kids look out for their parents every time, whether it's a church event, whether they're doing it with their Cub Scouts or Girl Scouts or whatever. Just make an effort to show up to whatever they're doing, and then you will build those memories. Those small, tiny things add up to big memories as they get bigger. So that also helps enhance the cohesiveness of the family, because if it's important to them, it should be important to you and it should be important to the family. So when Madison, my daughter, performs, the family goes, and Logan doesn't have to, watch the entire ballet because let's face it, you're a teenage boy. The entire ballet is super boring for you. He just has to look up when his sister is dancing. And she knows that we're out there um, watching her. And she knows that he is going to watch when she's up there. Excuse me again. So those little things add up to big memories. Again, I'm going to reiterate this. Don't compare someone's highlight reel, aka fake book, to your life because they're showing you all the good things and they're not showing you all the hard work too. So let's talk about traditions. Why are traditions important for your family? Traditions give you fun memories that get you through the tough times. When things aren't going quite so well, traditions remind you that you are a family and that you have prior memories to go together. So Traditions help us get through the tough autism times because they remind us that they're just a blip in the road, that we are a family and that we have these fun things we do together that are unique to us. And so we're a team. And traditions help remind us that we're a team and that we're all going to get through this. We've already talked about they bond you together, they make your family. And that's the glue that helps hold you all together forever because no one else is going to have those traditions. Again, simple traditions always trump elaborately planned ones that you're never going to get done. So a simple tradition at the holidays could be going out to see the Christmas lights. A simple tradition for us is to go on a manger hunt. And we point out, oh, there's a nativity and there's a nativity and there's a nativity. It gives the kids something to look for. So they don't get bored just, seeing all the lights and all that. So it's a fun tradition we've been doing for years, but it's our tradition. So we do it. It just makes us us. And then on really in difficult times, we can say, oh my gosh, you remember that year we went on a manger hunt and we decided we were going to jump out and take a picture with every manger? Totally my idea. It was not my brightest day ever, but we were going to take a picture with every manger. And so Logan jumped out and Mom didn't have the car in park yet, so he sort of rolled and it was so super crazy and we all start laughing because it was, it was funny. Well, it's funny now, but so it sort of helps you get through those tough times. A mantra in my house is that someday we're going to laugh about this. And so traditions have taught my children that we're in this together. And so it may not be funny now, but it's going to be funny later. So we just got to kind of, make it through. We're going to have fun memories, but we're also going to have tough days. But we're a team and we're in this together. And traditions sort of glue all that together for your family. So just like traditions are important because they give your family fun memories that are unique to your family, so it sort of makes your family, your family. Communication is really, really important too. Your spouse or your partner is not a mind reader. Your children aren't mind readers either, and neither are you. So it's the earlier you can open up the pathways to communication, the better. If you do this when your kids are young, then they're still going to talk to you when they're teenagers and older. My daughter said to me recently, excuse me, Mom, when the kid reaches 16 or 17, now's not the time to decide you want to talk to them. You should have been doing that the whole time. And she was spot on. You have to listen when little kids tell you what they deem to be super important stuff, like the snail went across the sidewalk, and you have to be excited to listen to it because it's important to them. I have written across my planner, if it's important to them, it's important to me. And so by making them feel important and validated, then they want to share with me their thoughts and feelings, um, as even though I'm their mom. So communication is essential to a good family. It is probably the hardest aspect for me of a family out of all of them. So we do a couple things. My family's not big talkers, so sometimes when things are bothering them, they they're not going to talk about it. So we have and then sometimes misunderstandings can happen and all that because they just didn't relay their plans or feelings or whatever. or they didn't know the family was going here, so they made plans for something else, or you didn't know they had an event, and so to the last minute. What has worked for my family is to have a group chat. We have, all of us have smartphones in the family because I have older children, teenagers, and so they go off by themselves, which means that they need to have a phone so that they can call me if they need me. If they get into a situation, they need me to come pick them up, or if they need to, call and check in, whatever. So we all have smartphones. So we have a group chat that everybody's in. My husband, myself, both kids. Okay. We also have a group chat on Facebook Messenger because sometimes Messenger is better because you can see who's seen the message, if that makes sense. It's easier to see, like, if I send a message to Madison on Facebook, I can see that she's seen it. Whereas if I send it via, well, Madison and I both have iPhones, so I can see that she's read it. But if I send a message to Logan on his Android, I can't tell if he's read it. So on Facebook, if I absolutely need to be sure he has seen it, I'll send him a Facebook message. Some sort of group chat. Now, I mentioned Facebook Messenger because they also have now the Messenger for kids. So even if you have small kids that have a tablet or whatever, they can, you can do a family chat so that everybody's in there. Messaging, texting, things like that. We have a group text, and then I have a text with each child individually. And so I have found that it is easier for them to tell me things through text than it is sometimes just verbally. If we're at an event and they're ready to go because their anxiety is high, or it's too loud, or someone sat next to them that's heavily perfumed, whatever, they can text me across the room to tell me that we need to make adjustments. So have some sort of group chat with just the family so that you can say things in there before you forget. I make the chat a mixture of serious. Hey mom, I have nutcracker practice next Tuesday from 6 to 11, and I have some silly in there. Like the meme with the Oregon Trail and the dinosaurs on it that said, I died of dysentery and velociraptors. So, you throw some silly in there, everybody laughs, and then you also use it for some serious. So it doesn't always have to be serious. It's just sort of a conversation between all of you in the family, but you're not all in the same room. I have a whiteboard up so that people can leave notes if they've said it in the text, or if we're out of toilet paper, or they realize that Taco Tuesday is coming up, and we don't have any taco stuff. That's a great place to just sort of jot it up there, and so everyone can see it. It's also a great place to put like your work schedule, or your husband's work schedule, so the kids know it. Or ours says a couple things. It says my work schedule, it says my husband's work schedule, it says the dance schedule, and it says the therapy schedule, so that everybody knows what's going on. It sort of acts like the family calendar at the house, and a family calendar is essential. We use on our smartphones the Google Calendar so that everyone can add to it. And then if you're out and about to make a some sort of appointment, you can see at a glance if anybody else has a conflict with it. So I have Google Calendar on my phone, as does everybody else, so we can sort of see that. But we also have the whiteboard up so that people can leave, random notes. And sometimes silly notes get on there, and sometimes it's the family Bible verse for the week, and then sometimes it's a reminder of whose laundry day is when. It's just a great whiteboard that allows us to keep communication open. So we review the calendar at family meetings, and while we're reviewing it, we add in any activities that we want to do together as a family, and we purposely schedule family time before it gets filled up. I purposely schedule one day a week when my family is going to eat around the table together. And we're going to eat a meal. And sometimes we're going to play a game. Sometimes we just talk a lot. Sometimes we watch a show together, but there's one day a week that we sit down as a family and break bread and then do whatever. Some days all we do is eat because everybody has homework or whatever to do as well. But there's always that one day they know we're going to eat together. So that gets added into the family calendar, and that's an unbreakable appointment. We don't break those appointments because, Susie down the street wants to go to the park. Family time is just as important as any other appointment that we have. So we schedule family time in there. And then we decide there are some family activities we want to do together. Do we want to go on this ranger-led hike together? Do we want to go to this event or that event? And we decide as a family if we want to go or if we want to pass. So that happens at the family meetings as well. But because it's on the family calendar, when we're out, we can see it on our phones before we make other appointments or we're running late or whatever. We know what's happening that day. But family time never gets rescheduled unless someone is sick or dying or, in jail, which is never happens. So I hope that gave you some great ideas on how to reboot your family if you happen to be going down the wrong path, or you just want to make your family better. I have found that in probably 80% of the time, people think their families are far worse than their families actually are, and that's why we start at the beginning with the what works, what doesn't, and what's just um, because they'll find out that what's working vastly outnumbers what isn't, and so their families are pretty awesome. So if you're putting any kind of effort into your family, it's probably pretty awesome. And we just need to be reminded of that at times. Special needs families like I have often get the strains and stress of therapy, the special needs. For us, it's autism, and other things, and we could just get overwhelmed and think we have the worst family around. So you probably don't. You probably have a really great family. And like I said, a great family just takes a lot of work, just like a great marriage takes a lot of work. It's not going to happen overnight, and it's not going to happen by accident. So if you are purposeful in your family time and in your family interactions, you can have a great family anytime. So you can follow all of our adventures on my blog or on Facebook or my group on Twitter, Instagram. You can see I'm not shy about posting about my family. Even as my children have grown, I believe that sharing our struggles and sharing our successes helps other families. Um, so I tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly, and sometimes it can be pretty ugly. And I have a coupon code for you at the bottom. If you go to my blog, the store on my blog, I have a rebooting family video series with workbook. 30 days. You go through. I walk you through 30 days of rebooting your family. We walk, step by step through, and I give you the worksheets for figuring out what's right with your family, what's wrong, and what's mediocre, and how to fix it, and then we sort of go from there. But so you save $20 off, which makes the whole video series $15 for you for taking this class. If that's still too much and you want to take it, feel free to give me a shout, and I will be happy to work something out with you, because families are sort of my jam. I like to see other families be awesome. I personally think my family's the most awesome, but you probably think your family's the most awesome too. So thanks for joining me today, and have a great one.